The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, callers, and advisors on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production unit of ILS, the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be represented in part or entirety without the express written consent of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2026. All rights reserved.
Power remains off in Grand Key tonight and could be the reason my scheduled guests are unable to join me this evening. I'll explain. Meanwhile, residents are asking what's behind the latest delay. Tonight, former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis urging government to let BPL take charge of transmission and distribution once again. He addresses the BPL issue coming up. Also tonight, Commissioner of Police Shanton Knowles speaking on the leak of a document that details a police plan that was leaked from someone on the inside. Knowles feels had the plan happened, maybe those lives lost at the weekend could have been avoided. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, I was supposed to begin tonight's show with an interview featuring two residents from Grand Key, but one of them warned me earlier in advance that the ongoing power outage might prevent the interview from happening. And I believe that is exactly the case, as I've not been able to reach them. Perhaps their devices are not charged. However, frustration is mounting in Grand Key. Residents have spent another weekend without power and now face another delay in the restoration of power. BPL planned to have a rental generation unit arrive on Little Grand Key this morning, but says the shipping company has pushed the arrival to Tuesday, August 25th, barring any further delays. This adds to the frustration of residents who have now endured nearly 3 weeks of prolonged power outages. Sandy Russell says he's had enough of the excuses and delays.
Grand Key is like a disaster, and what's going on now, they just building up our hopes and just letting us back down. Like right now in Grand Key, when you come from out the boat in the evening time, you come out of that salt water and you go into a place where just ain't no water, just ain't no power, and also there's no water. When you open up your windows in the night to catch a little bit of fresh air, the mosquitoes, them will kill you. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, people are so tired, it's like they're punishing us. That's how it feels. And every time we talk about it, they say they can bring some kind of solution. They can bring a solution, but this solution never come in, And it's like everyone is just frustrated right now.
Well, I tell you, Sandy Russell from Grand Key, we were able to get a quick interview with him. Again, I was to be joined live by two residents of Grand Key. That unfortunately is not able to happen this evening, but we're going to get in right there this evening. Beyond the Headlines, of course, my contributors are here. It's good to have you all here. Good evening to each of you. Leslie Miller, Ellington Ferguson, and Howard Johnson. Welcome to the show tonight.
Thank you, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas. It's a pleasure to be here once again.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, colleagues. Good evening, Bahamas.
Good evening, Bahamas.
Gentlemen,
good evening, colleagues.
Yes, good evening once again. Gentlemen, what do you make of the situation in Grand Key? There was supposed to be some sort of resolve today, but the boat that was to have transported the generator there had some issues, and that could not happen. It's supposed to happen tomorrow, but this is coming up on 3 weeks. The Grand Key has been without electricity.
Shanique, I can imagine, I can only imagine, in light of all that we've been going through here in the capital, how unbearable, how painful this must be for those people in Grand Key. You heard the gentleman speak about going out into the salt water, a little key like that, fishing and stuff is their main source of business, source of income. and to go out and be out in the water all day, come home, you can't take a bath, you barely can see where you're going, and come on, man. It's, Shanique, we have got to curb this. This administration have got to get the hold on it. Everybody involved, from the top down, have got to begin to put their hand on this wheel, take this in charge. Let's kind of reroute, re-steer, refocus, because obviously something that was put in place is not working. We have seen, from since this stuff been put in place, massive failures across this country. It's become unbearable. It's unfair to those people in Grand Key. We need a reset of this whole energy transforming thing, because I'm sure that this cannot be going in the direction that the government have originally planned for it to go. Something went awry. You all know what went wrong. Let's fix this. Let's kind of recalibrate and then move forward.
Yeah, Shanique, it just goes to show how close to home this thing hits, and it proves how small the Bahamas is. I personally felt bad for those people in Grand Key. They're Bahamians, I'm a Bahamian, and you feel for your people. But when I saw you call the name just now, and you talked about the interview, so Sandy Russell is someone known to me. Me and Sandy Russell were roommates on COB dorms from 1998 to 2000. I spent 2 years with this guy, eating ramen noodles and playing basketball, ramen noodles with hot dog in it, playing basketball, going to class. This is a personal friend of mine. This is someone I know. So it feels even deeper when you see someone who you know talking about how they are being impacted by this particular crisis. And, I agree with, all of what Ellington had to say. This experiment in BPL and spinning off BGC, and BGC doing transmission and distribution and BPL doing generation, I think at this point, we can call that a failed experiment. It is a failed experiment, and I really would like to admonish the government of the Bahamas to rethink whatever's going on with that arrangement, because, let's be real. When we start looking out for me instead of we, see, because we still don't know who own this thing. We still don't know who own the 60%. And those are the hard questions that we need to start asking. And we have to stop worrying about, don't touch that because that's politics. Don't touch this because this one know this one. No, this is supposed to be about we, not me. This ain't about friends. This ain't about cronies. This ain't about who you know. This ain't about getting kickbacks and who line in who pockets. We need to provide the relief and the services that the Bahamian people deserve and need. And we have to stop thinking about me and start thinking about we.
When you consider Grand Key, on the hell that those places have been going through for the last couple of weeks, it is so unfair and so unnecessary. I had some talks with a lot of people over the weekend, but in-depth situations on BEC. The biggest problem is that the new company, the private company, that's supposed to be responsible for distribution on the like, isn't up to par. And they're still using BEC men and women to do their job and still taking home $7 to $8 million a month for it. And the people are very concerned as to what the hell they're getting this money for. It's some serious problems that they need to get fixed. BEC was owned 100% by the Bahamian people, just like BTC, water and sewage, and the others. You can't give away your crown jewels to people who don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yes.
They have to get it right. It is not fair for people to be suffering over and repeatedly like this. And I'm sure they know what the answer is. Just get it right. But it is unfair. And I trust that the compensation that should be given, really, to Bahamians all across the board. School is opening now in September. When we were there every September, we told those persons who we know was not in a good financial position, they didn't pay no bills for September. We negated the bills for September, then we could pay October, November, December, make it up for it. Because everybody got to pay them school fees come Friday, eh? I went to St. John's today to pay mines. They got to be paid. People are hurting. Then you turn off the lights and expect me to pay the bill? Come on. Give some consideration to your customers. They should not be able, they should not have to pay August bill for what has transpired for the month. I know it's a big hit, but I know what's going on now, fully. They need to get it right. It is not fair to the Bahamian people, man.
Maybe the answer lies right here in
Electricity is out right now, and some areas in Oslo, you're talking.
Electricity is
Which is
out.
grand key.
Listen. Well, here's this thought. Return responsibility of transmission of electricity to BPL.
Exactly.
That is from former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis. In a Facebook post, Dr. Minnis says home and business owners are feeling it from power outages, and they deserve to have their fair share, as you said, Leslie, and be subsidized. Now he's calling for the government to consider subsidization.
My barber has finally completed my haircut. And I've been able to attend my cousin's funeral this morning without a cap. But while traveling home, I stopped at 2 small establishments, and those owners were literally crying in tears because of the power being off and the pain and suffering they're experiencing. Then I stopped at Juicing for Life at Saunders Beach to buy my regular drink, the Bedroom Bully. And again, that's closed, power's off. Prime Minister, this country is on a meltdown since your PLP administration came back to power. The people are suffering. When the road works were done under the Ingram-led administration, Ingram supported them with subsidy, the businesses. After losing the government, Christie continued those subsidies to the people and the small businesses. During the pandemic, we did the same thing. We subsidized and supported businesses and other employment status. The people are crying again for help. Prime Minister, we cannot continue without any form of subsidy. Businesses are literally crying they are closing. There are a lot going on with Bahamas Grid, and I have a lot to say because I smell a rat. Bring BPL back to deal with the transmission. Energy productivity is occurring, but it cannot get to the people, which means as those generators continue to...
Dr. Hubert Minnis there speaking about BPL, the BPL issue, saying that, listen, the Bahamian people, business owners in particular, deserve to be subsidized, given a subsidy based on what's been happening, not just this month, really for the last few months. Gentlemen, your thoughts on that? Leslie, you kind of already alluded to it a minute ago.
Listen, you know what it is for school is going to open on Monday. Imagine those young kids going home now to try to do their homework, try to get acclimatized to the new school year. Everybody's happy. No books. They're going to go through all their books. And you go home and no power. The mother come home from work 6, 7 o'clock, tired as hell. She can't even bathe her children. You don't know when the light's going to come on. That's not fair. We could do better than this. Bahamas Grid is not the company to be being responsible for our lives. BEC men and women know what they're doing. They have the experience. They know what is underground. Do you know what's happened now? This grid company goes and finds a problem. Say Old West, Old East. They then call BEC. Could you all send a backhoe to dig the hole for us, please? So they go and dig the hole. Could you all send the fellas?
Well, no wonder the people could
you all send the fellas to fix it for us, please? Mm-hmm. What the hell be paying them $6 to $8 million a month for? And they said that use BEC equipment. BEC has no equipment now, you know. They give all of the equipment was given out to this new company. They got no equipment.
So what are they being paid for? And Leslie, remember the row all last week and the week before with the overtime? Well, now you just explained why they are making all this overtime.
Overtime is a joke. They have to make overtime because they don't want double work. They have one gentleman there, I'm told, who's from a foreigner. This guy got a contract. Somebody in BEC decided to give him this big-time contract to be a consultant, some $300,000 a year. That's BEC now. He has a contract now with Bahamas Grid for some $107,000 a year. And BEC is still paying him, and Bahamas Grid is still paying him. He's getting 2 damn checks. That's why the guy said, fella's making $700 an hour is probably that particular fella who was bought here by someone in BEC. You hear me?
Ellington and Howard,
Okay.
you all heard this. All of it sounds like one big mix-up bowl of and not even conch salad, mess, quite frankly, to the Bahamian people. Something that we want sorted out based on what's happening in homes and businesses around this country.
Shanique, while I am not an expert in electrical work, but when they brought Pike here, it was so visible.
Exactly.
You saw Pike.
You saw the work.
You saw the work that they were doing. You saw the changes that they were making. It was just, I mean, I don't think you had one Bahamian
Nope.
complain about anything that Pike was doing.
Nope.
They're out of here. This Bahamas Grid company that is supposed to be transmission and distribution, all of a sudden, the whole country is going into the abyss.
They don't have the confidence to do it.
I'm wondering in this whole energy transform thing, and we were excited about it in the initial rollout of it. But could BPL have continued doing what they were doing? If they want to do something with some of these other people, give them these other family islands. Let's see if they
BEC
can handle
did it
them,
for over 90
which
years,
is much
you know.
smaller.
I know what you're talking
BPL has been doing this.
For 90
BPL
years.
has the skills. There has the people there that know where everything lies. You give these people something who still have to rely on and still have to fall back on BPL workers, and the workers don't even want to go with them. Maybe that was a good choice when they did not go.
Exactly.
So, I mean, what is the purpose? Why do we have to have this third company to do transmission and distribution while BPL was doing energy from the generation, transmission, and distribution all along? In my opinion, we used to have our outages, we used to have our blackouts during the summer, but I think BPL were doing then better than what we got now.
Superior.
Yeah,
Superior.
Shanique, I was really surprised. I saw Dr. Minnis talking about his haircut. I'd just like to welcome him to the Bald Head Fellas Club because it's the first time I've seen him without something on his head for a long time, and I realized that he's bald now. So welcome, Dr. Minnis. And then I don't know if you all miss it, but Minnis say they cause him not to be able to get his bedroom bully. So
No, I didn't miss it.
I know what Minnis say his drink is the bedroom bully. So boy, Dr. Minnis, I don't know, he was a mess. But anyway, getting back to this thing,
Pray
Shanique,
for my biology teacher.
I don't understand this thing, just like Ellington said, from a professional or expert context, right? But I'll tell you what I do understand. I do understand based on the nature of the work that I do.
Common sense approach.
What it means when you move money and you move assets. When you move assets and money from one entity to the next, in my line of business, what's going to eventually happen is you are going to take the entity that the resources are being moved from, and you are going to bankrupt it. You are going to liquidate everything that is left. You are going to shutter it, and you are going to remove any legacy debt that is on the books, because now what's left in terms of debt becomes toxic assets. And now you can wipe them clean from the books. And the new entity now has all of these resources and assets and equipment free and clear. And I do hope that that is not what is going to happen with BPL and BGC, where we see the strategic movement of resources and assets from BPL over into BGC with the intent of bankrupting BPL and shuttering it to remove that $500 million that Leslie always talks about off of the books.
That ain't go. You know, on this so-called big-time guy they brought in, who told us to go on the beach. Apparently he had this little job in New York, working at one little two-bit station up there. And he comes here to be the hero. And all he do is sit his fat ass on the beach, or like, and hope that the wind blow.
He went to the beach.
Oh, yeah, he goes to the beach all the time.
Oh,
he can't do nothing else.
Well, no doubt he lives in a gated community where he can just go
But
and
he's from
slip
New
on
York,
and
they
go
tell
to
me.
the beach. Yeah.
They flew him down from New
Money
York.
he got either in Old Fort Bay or Life Key.
Okay.
That part right there. A question to the panel for you all to consider as we go to the break. Does anyone on the panel or Leslie know why Pike stopped work here, broke the contract, and left the Bahamas after breaking that contract? This is Beyond the Headlines. We are back right after this break. Stay close.
Cut and dry as is. It's big enough now to handle your big loads, you know. Yeah, like you come put on your blanket. But just look at us. Somebody forget to turn on the dryer. Oh, stop! You hear something? Yeah, that's the sound of clean. Silverwash washes you, processes you, and entertains you 24/7.
Did you know that when you shop at cbsbahamas.com, you can see directly into our vendors' warehouses? What that means is even if we only have a dozen of an item available in store, you can order virtually as many as you want directly from our vendors and have it delivered to your doorstep in just 10 to 14 days. You don't have to worry about shipping, imports, duties, or any of the hard stuff. Our back order program is unique, and it's only at cbsbahamas.com.
Renovating your apartment? Furnishing an Airbnb? Or just want that hotel-grade look in your home? Then stop by Black's Liquidation Center at Town Center Mall. Get the complete Queen package for just $899 or go King for just $999. Not looking for a complete bedroom? No problem. Shop our hotel inventory piece by piece. Ceiling fans for just $40. Love seats for $150. Bed benches starting at $50. Floor lamps for $65. Nightstands starting at $60. Queen headboard and frame sets for just $175. Plus mirrors, desks, king mattresses, king headboards and frames, and so much more. Whether you're furnishing one room or an entire property, we've got liquidation prices on quality hotel inventory. And yes, local delivery is available. Visit Black's Liquidation Center at Town Center Mall or call 359-2372 today.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Before we shift gears right now, I want to give anybody an opportunity to answer that question from a viewer. Why did Pike just up and leave after inking a major deal for a number of years, but they broke the contract and left town? Anybody can speak to that?
Well, Shanique, it's very, very under very suspicious circumstances. We hear all that was going on with Pike. Up and run right after that incident happened, and then all of a sudden we just saw bit by bit we saw those trucks being parked out by our key getting ready to ship, and they're gone. Something is awry. I just think there's too much people in the mix, and it begs a question. Do we have a confusion going on? Because now we have all of these faults just triggering. They put up these new equipment, and now all of these stuff are just triggering every other day. Something is triggering, something is going off that's causing us to have these massive blackouts across the island. Nobody seems to be able to get a handle on it. That right there, I think, needs to be addressed. I think the government owes the Bahamian people an explanation as to what happened with Pike. You brought Pike here to us. You introduced Pike on the floor of our House of Assembly. We need to know what happened in that case.
I don't have the answer to that, but I have a question of my own. What I would like to ask is, do we still have any monetary obligations to Pike, even though they've exited stage left? That's the question that I have. Are there any more, any connection still? relative to money? I know they up and left, so maybe they breached the contract, but are there any monetary obligations that we still have outstanding for Pike?
I think the bigger question is, who is looking out for the Bahamian people's interests? Pike was here. Pike had a contract with BPL. But when you kill one of the white Americans under Mr. Trump and those small island like the Bahamas, the man came in a couple of months, he's dead. And they took up their ship and headed back to where they came from. You realize that within 30 days, 60 days after Pike signed that contract with those people here in the Bahamas, the company was sold, That contract was so lucrative for them that it put them in a good financial position to sell the majority of the shares to another company still using the Pike name, That's what it's all about. Let me get this. Now, these guys are in charge of a country, not a damn little city or municipality in the United States. They're now in charge of a country called the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. You could sell that to anybody with big money. So they went out. You know how difficult it is to get trained fellas again? Because these guys who work for Pike and these other big companies come from all over the United States, Yep. Mostly Texas, Louisiana, Georgia.
I know they're big in Florida.
Florida, they're big, and that's very, it's a conglomeration of the manpower that is necessary. I just think all the heads need to come together and get to the bottom of this. Who is the majority shareholder in this company called BPL? Is the Bahamian people the majority or minority?
Not BPL, Bahamas.
That is the question. With all of these companies, subsidiaries, I would like to know as a Bahamian myself, who has the major share? Who is making the decisions on behalf of the average Bahamian that is entitled to the ownership of BPL and, of course, all of its debt too? The legacy debt is over $500 million. When is that going to be paid? Who is going to be responsible for paying that debt? Because you and I know that the ones who are supplying the stuff now could care less about you, me, and all the other small men and women in this country, and boys and girls. Okay? All they're interested in is how much money they could get every month to put on their checking account and move on to leave their legacy and leave us with the damn legacy debt on all of the bills associated with BPL, including that most people don't know. Do you know there's over $150 million in BPL fund, employee fund, that was put there by the Bahamian people? Over 150 million of our people is in that fund. Our money. The fellow on the street money from Baintown, from the Grove, from McCullough Corner, from Soldier Road, from the bottom, from Camp Road. That's their money. That's in there. Paying for few people to get rich off of their labor. The whole thing needs to be flushed out.
As each day goes by, we certainly have more and more questions, and the longer these power outages persist, the more questions develop. So, gentlemen, I mean, obviously, we will continue to discuss this BPL matter, but you all, there's an issue, and we have not talked about it. I have not brought it to the show until right now. The Commissioner of Police has spoken to it today, and so therefore, let's just delve in. And many people are wondering about this case in Eleuthera. Don't go ahead of me, please. Don't. I don't know who's rolling, but don't go ahead of me.
No.
Thanks. The body of a 34-year-old mother and entrepreneur, Katrina Kelly, has still not been found, but police insist they have strong and compelling evidence that she was murdered. Kelly was reported missing in Eleuthera on Tuesday, August 11th, the same day police believe she was killed. Last week, Rico Hebern, Denzel Delancey, and Chiquita Cash were charged with her murder. Police Commissioner Shanta Knowles has not disclosed the evidence against the accused, but maintains that the absence of Kelly's body will not prevent prosecutors from moving and proving this case in court.
We are confident that the evidence that we've uncovered will certainly lead us to a conviction, and hopefully we can fast track this matter through our court system and get that conviction. First, I want to say thanks to my officers who went down there and the officers on Eleuthera who began the investigation a couple days later, because we understand that she was actually last seen on a Tuesday and we never got the information until a Friday. And so we were 3 days behind in that investigation. But I want to say thanks to my officers who did not look at the clock but diligently searched for her, searched through bushes, searched through ponds, searched through the sea, hoping that we could recover her. Unfortunately, we were unable to, but we have sufficient evidence to support the charges on the 3 people who went to court last week. And so I want the people of Eleuthera to know that our heart is with the people of our communities and that we work in good faith, hoping to find those who are missing, hoping to ease the burdens or the pain of those who are suffering because of violence. And the Royal Bahamas Police Force will continue to do so.
Gentlemen, you all heard the Commissioner of Police there, and the reason so many people even today are questioning how could they bring charges against the 3 people who were arrested. How could they bring charges against them without a body having been found? Well, you heard the commissioner say, listen, the evidence is there. They are comfortable and confident in the evidence, and they will move forward with this case. Anybody?
Well, Shanique, I know that it's been done before. I know here in the United States, there's always there's been many convictions with circumstantial evidence absent a body. In that case, the circumstantial evidence is overwhelming and compelling, and enough for a jury or the judge in a bench trial to give a conviction. Now, this is it's been very bizarre of a story. I just still can't wrap my head around something like this happening, especially in Eleuthera, in small little Eleuthera. And I personally think it's so sad and tragic that with law enforcement not being able to produce a body to prove conclusively that a murder has taken place, I believe that those persons have disposed of that young woman's body in the sea. Because the commissioner said that they looked in the sea. Now, we got to remember now, this North Eleuthera Park, when you pass the Glass Window Bridge, you know, that's the water we're talking about. We're talking about that Atlantic side now that is very choppy, that is very deep. And yes, and so I believe if those police who've done their diligence, we know that they've combed that area. That's the part of Eleuthera that begins getting wide, but it's a very small place. Everybody knows everybody. That a young woman's body, I believe, was disposed of in the sea. And I would just like to say my condolences to her family. And I just wish that they can have the opportunity to find God's grace and be able to heal.
Shanique, my heart goes out to this family. A woman leave children behind. Our nation is getting sicker and sicker by the
That's right.
The things that people will do. And when you hear the inside story about the simple and the little trivial things that they would take somebody's life over, it's just crazy. I've always believed in the Royal Bahamas Police Force. I think we have some wonderful men and women in uniform that does tremendous work. They know their work, and in little intelligence I've learned, police can they follow certain things with cameras and the cars, and they learn that she was picked up from home, and so they look at cameras and stuff like that, and they find evidence, there's body evidence or whether the person was murdered in the car. The police look at all of these type of things, and they're able to form a conclusion based on watching these persons move in these vehicles, and depending on what took place in the car, they can bring charges on a person, and eventually, based on the strength of the evidence, they can get a conviction on the murder charge. So, without a body doesn't mean that it can't happen.
This savage act that was committed on the mother, her 11-year-old daughter, stood by when they came and picked her up with who she thought was friends. And the Bahamian American woman, I think, is deeply involved in this to some extent. Her father, Kelly, said it was so painful to see her daughter. She has two daughters, I think one 9 and one 11. The 11-year-old saw them, took her mother away, and she kept asking him, when is mommy coming back? When is mommy coming back? But first of all, we got to give our deepest sympathy to the mother of Miss Kelly and her 2 precious children and all the family members. Her brother was just killed a few months ago. But it's not going to stop, unless we bring back capital punishment. unless we let the crime fit the bill of murder. It appears that what we are doing in this country today is protecting the murderer and forgetting about those who were murdered. This young woman, life was taken. She had a decent job, had a nice little business, working at a hotel and renting cars on the side. They decided for whatever reason, we can take her life because our life is not going to be taken. Because nobody got the guts to implement the laws that is on the books in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So we could kill and go free. They could take a shower tonight. They took showers after they disposed of her. There's something wrong with a society, man. All of us don't ascribe to the same norms. That those who commit a crime, a heinous crime of taking a life, that they are protected more than the person whose life they took. There's something wrong with that. That can't be fair. Just 2 weeks ago in Florida, they put a couple of electrics here.
In the same day.
Same day. But here in the Bahamas, we let the killers run free. And those who were murdered and butchered in the ground, and nobody cares. Those who are responsible for it wouldn't implement the laws of the Bahamas. The last one that happened was Ms. Ingram.
Leslie,
God bless
and
it.
all of you all, remember Ralph Gonzalez, a former Prime Minister of
Comrade Ralph.
Yes, yes.
And the Grenadines, he talked about the state of the Bahamian judiciary.
Yes.
He talked about that, and I will continue to quote him. In
Yes,
fact,
yes.
Here's an attorney,
Yes.
before we go to the break, says, the law says you don't need a body to proceed with a murder prosecution. That is from an attorney who is also one of our viewers this evening. Thank you very much for participating. When we come back, listen, we're still talking about the police because did you all hear about the police and this leaked document? They had a whole operation set up and somebody within went and send a document to everybody so that they can avoid the areas the police would be at. Did you all hear about this? We can talk about that when we come back. This is Beyond the Headlines.
They don't stop it.
We are back right after this.
Think you know a lot about money? Then prove it. What if one sound could win you big cash? Listen carefully. Then tell us exactly how much money went through the machine. One guess, one sound, one chance to win. Listen, guess, win. It's the sound of money. Brought to you by 103.5 The Beat. Powered by Island Lux Quick 5.
Running out of space? We've got room for that. Welcome to Skyline Storage, your trusted self-storage solution. Skyline Storage offers units from 5x10 to 10x30, climate controlled or standard dry. Perfect for home or business. Located in Westfield Commerce Park, Western New Providence. Your belongings stay safe with gated access and 24/7 surveillance starting at $175 a month. Reserve, pay, and move in online. No phone calls, no paperwork. Visit SkylineStorage.com. Skyline Storage. Storage made simple.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites. We offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods. Taste the difference.
Well, this was the biggest or one of the biggest stories for the last few days. Many people were talking about it and forwarding a document that they received. Well, today, Commissioner of Police Shanta Knowles addressed it. Did a leaked police operation document cost authorities a chance to prevent a bloody weekend? That's the question front and center as gunmen unleashed violence across the streets of New Providence this weekend. Linton Ritchie Jr. picks up the story from here.
A leaked police document containing details of a confidential operation is now expected to have consequences for the person responsible, as authorities say the disclosure may have compromised police operations during a bloody weekend in New Providence that left 3 men dead. Now comes the haunting question: could 3 lives have been saved if the operation had succeeded? That answer may never be known.
So, we're not happy about it. We're investigating that matter. And should we uncover where or who leaked that document, they will be facing charges within our organization.
The string of violent shootings appeared to follow a similar pattern: gunmen exiting vehicles, opening fire, and making their escape. Just yesterday evening in Fox Hill, viral closed-circuit television footage captured a near-fatal shooting that left 2 men injured. The footage appears to show 4 masked men emerging from a blue Japanese vehicle armed with high-powered firearms before opening fire from over a fence and fleeing the scene. Then on Saturday morning, the same tactic at play. 1 man killed inside his residence on Joe Farrington Road, and hours later, a roadside landscaper was shot dead on Gladstone Road. Police continue to search for 2 men in connection with the Gladstone Road incident, while police say an 18-year-old female who was the reported getaway driver remains in custody. Now, the top cop is acknowledging that police operations outlined in the leaked document failed to produce the results authorities had hoped for, with this weekend's bloodshed serving as a grim reminder.
Because of the leakage of that document, it caused those who we are trying to put a control on, that gives them a leeway now to prevent our road checks, to prevent us from executing our duties.
Titled Operation Clean Sweep, the document outlined plans to disrupt criminal activity by intercepting the illegal transport of firearms and ammunition through aggressive stop and searches of suspected vehicles and their occupants. Knowles emphasizing why operations as such remain important not just to the force, but for national security.
Tracking what illegal items may come into our country so that we can take them off our streets before they get into hands of those who we don't want them in the hands of, and especially our young people.
Now, a timeline into the investigation remains unclear. However, authorities did confirm that a task force has been assembled to probe who is responsible. Linton Ritchie Jr., Eyewitness News.
Well, gentlemen, there's the Commissioner of Police today speaking of an operation that her officers had planned to execute, and that operation was interrupted. She believes that it could have warranted great results in terms of stemming the tide of crime, but as a result of it being exposed and leaked, we saw what happened this weekend. Your thoughts on that document that the commissioner says is now under investigation as to how it got out into the public?
Shanique, I think it's so unfortunate that you would have men and women on the police force undermining the efforts of their fellow colleagues. You know, I mean, this could even cause one of their colleagues' death.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? I praise Commissioner Shanta Knowles. She came into the force and she realized that she had a lot of work to do. And I want her to know that your work is far from over, because you have men and women on your force that the same things that you're going outside to investigate, these men and women are linked and partners with a lot of these guys on the street that you're trying to take off the street. And that's why someone would do something like that. I think, Ms. Commissioner, Madam Commissioner, you need to have an ongoing a spy eye throughout your organization, watching some of these men, watching when they go get off, where they go, what they do. You must do that. You must do that if you're really going to clean this force, because you have some gangsters on your force. Worse than some of the guys on the street, because they work hand in hand with them. They involve in arms smuggling, they involve in drugs and every other crime that the police force is trying to eradicate.
Yeah, Shanique, this leaker has betrayed their oath. This person has betrayed their colleagues, their fellow officers, their squad mates, the entire police force. They have also breached the public trust. And this leaker has also betrayed the national security of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And I agree with the commissioner when she said that this person is going to face penalties within the organization.
Serious
but
consequences.
I would admonish the commissioner of police, the minister of national security, the prime minister. Shanique, this isn't just a mere criminal infraction. This person has committed treason, okay? This is a treasonous offense in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And treason results in death. And so what I'm saying right now ties into what Leslie said in the last segment that needs to happen. This person needs to be charged with high treason, punishable by death, and hung.
You know, it's a sad state of affairs in our country today when you hear these things happening in the front of our face. That means the whole country's is at risk, high risk, that if you go and report a matter to the police, the fella could give it back to the police and who come after you. Because that's what traitors do.
Yep.
And who did that is a traitor.
Thank you.
And traitors normally stand against the wall and go home.
Thank you, Leslie.
To glory land. And they are traitors.
Yes.
Not only to their brothers and sisters on the force,
the entire country,
but to the country at large.
Yes.
I mean, how low are we going to go before we say enough is enough and stop it once and for all?
Examples must be set.
How far we got to go?
Must set examples.
It is something, obviously, we will continue to follow and see what the commissioner's investigation reveals. Meanwhile, gentlemen, let's shift gears and the mood as well on tonight's show. The results from this year's national exams are in, but they reveal a persistent challenge. Mathematics continues to be a stumbling block for many students. Education Director Dominique McCartney sheds more light on the issue. She did so today to the media as officials look to turn the tide in math performance overall and build on student success in other areas. Now, gentlemen, the students saw a marginal increase in other areas, but again, math continues to be an area where the performance is less than desirable. We will, of course, see what happens this new school year. Of course, we know school opens at the end of this month. The new semester officially gets underway in the beginning of September, and we will need these students to perform well. We also know that a number of Bahamians have re-entered the education field as a result of that call by the Minister of Education to come in and help make up the deficit in teachers. There's still a shortage, but over 100.
Teachers from Ghana, when are they coming?
I'm sure. Well, we'll see. I don't know why you're stuck on those Ghanaian teachers. I have no idea why you're stuck on them, but they perhaps will be entered and welcomed into the school system. Meanwhile, though, Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson says the union has put forward a new counter proposal and is giving government until Thursday to respond, with just 1 week to go before the 2026-2027 academic year officially beginning. Negotiations, that's right, between the Bahamas Union of Teachers and the government are ongoing. Teachers across the country returned to the classrooms today to begin preparations for the new school year, with Wilson urging her members to report to their respective stations despite the uncertainty surrounding the negotiations.
As an update, I've been in communication with the government in reference to the new industrial agreement, and I have resubmitted our counter proposal. So in light of this, I am asking the thousands of members of the Bahamas Union of Teachers in an act of good faith to report to your various schools tomorrow morning, Monday, August the 24th, 2026, the first day for teachers to return at your usual time, 8:45 a.m. It is hoped that we will receive an acceptable response from the government by Thursday. Failure to receive a satisfactory response, we will decide the way forward at our general membership meeting, scheduled for Thursday, August the 27th, 2026. Shop stewards,
Guys, watch me, man.
please note that the checklist is attached for your assessment of the readiness of your schools. Please turn in those forms no later than Wednesday, August the 26th, 2026. Thank you very much for your service.
Gentlemen, you hear Belinda Wilson saying, listen, government, Chester Cooper, Minister of Education. You guys, I told you to wrap that for a minute ago so we can actually respond to it. I have 3 minutes. Let me use it. That she is saying, unless you come back to the table and sort of resume negotiations, then nothing is happening. This new school year will be interrupted. Your thoughts?
I think, I've said it before, we need to know, the Bahamian people need to know, understand this impasse. Obviously, I've learned that it is about some funds. We need to know what the teachers' proposal is. We need to know what the government said their final proposal is. Allow the Bahamian people to dissect this and understand this so we can get a better appreciation for it, because this is being done in secret and we don't know. It's unfortunate. I pray that all sides can come together and they can come to some level of a middle road in between there, and let's get on with the education of our children. You hear about some of the challenges that we're still having with some of the grades and the subjects in our school. Our kids don't need this.
Shanique, I loved when I saw, when I heard Ms. Wilson so poised, so calm, so measured. I think it's the pearls. Every time she wears pearls, it seemed like, you know, that leadership is demonstrated so well. So, Ms. Wilson, please keep wearing your pearls. I must give you your kudos tonight. You are doing a great job. Now, my only issue, Ms. Wilson, is when you speak in such a conciliatory manner, and then you transition to failure to, that's where we start getting in problems. Because now we're taking on a negative connotation, and now we're doing a zero-sum game. So, you know, still a work in progress, but madam, tonight, I salute you. You started off well.
Likewise, I'm really proud of the position she is taking. But, you know, I'm 1,000% behind the teachers receiving a decent salary, good compensation, and, of course, also the benefits of retirement fund for teachers. Teachers are been underpaid in this country for years and years. They're the caretakers of our children. They are our future builders who make the country what it is. And they should be compensated for their hard work. And they now need to concentrate on the mathematical side of things to give our kids a good edge on mathematics, because that's so important now in this new world that we're living in with AI and everything else.
Yes.
So let's hope for the best. And I thank you for being so conciliatory this evening, madam. Thank you very much. And you look so cute tonight too, you know?
Belinda, keep those pearls on.
Very cute, you know?
Belinda, keep those pearls on. It's the pearls.
I would say it's the pearls.
I thank you, gentlemen, very much. Leslie Miller, Ellington Ferguson, Howard Johnson, thank you so much. And thank all of you for tuning in and for participating. I certainly enjoyed having you along. I look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.